Welcome back, my dear coin collectors, and thank you for joining today's incredible deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. What if I told you that a simple penny, a coin you might overlook, drop without noticing, or find at the bottom of your pocket, could be worth an unbelievable $77 million? Yes, you heard that correctly, a 2003 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that normally holds just 1 cent in face value, has been valued by collectors and experts at an astounding $77 million. This jaw-dropping value comes not from gold, diamonds, or some hidden treasure, but from something far more intriguing: minting errors, historical quirks, and the rarity of imperfection. Today, we'll explore the unbelievable story of how this coin went from a regular piece of change to one of the most legendary discoveries in modern numismatic history. So sit back, because you're about to learn how a small, copper-colored coin from 2003 could change the way you look at every penny you hold. The year 2003 may not seem all that distant in history, yet it represents a fascinating period for U.S. coinage. The Lincoln cent, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, had already been in continuous production for nearly a century by that point. The design had become one of America's most beloved symbols, gracing the pockets and wallets of millions for generations. By 2003, the penny's composition had long since changed from its original solid bronze to a copper-plated zinc format, introduced in 1982 due to rising metal costs. At just 2.5 grams in weight, the modern penny seemed simple and ordinary, but as we're about to discover, even in such a modern minting era, the extraordinary can still happen. The D Mint mark on this coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the major branches of the United States Mint system, alongside Philadelphia, San Francisco, and West Point. The Denver facility is known for producing coins for everyday circulation, and in 2003, it struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. Each of these coins went through rigorous quality checks, automated inspections, and strict standards, making it seem nearly impossible for a significant error to escape detection. Yet somehow, one particular coin managed to defy all expectations, slipping through the cracks and entering circulation as a near-perfect storm of minting anomalies. So, how does a single 1-cent coin become worth $77 million? The answer lies in an almost unbelievable combination of rare minting mistakes, a mixture of doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, planchet errors, and other minute details that have fascinated experts around the world. When such anomalies converge in one coin, especially from a modern minting year like 2003, the rarity skyrockets to a level that makes collectors and historians marvel. Let's start with the first and most striking feature reported on this legendary 2003 Lincoln cent: the dramatic doubling on the obverse side. This kind of error, known as a doubled die, is one of the most cherished varieties in coin collecting. A doubled die occurs not during the striking of the coin itself, but during the creation of the die that stamps the coin's design. When the design is impressed onto the die more than once but slightly out of alignment, the result is a die that transfers that doubled image onto every coin it strikes. On this 2003 cent, the doubling is said to be remarkably strong, visible on Lincoln's profile, the letters of liberty, and especially the motto "I in God we trust." Collectors have noted that the letters B, E, and R in liberty show a shadow-like doubling effect, while the words "I in God we trust" seem to shimmer with a distinct doubled outline. Even the date 2003 reportedly displays clear separation between the digits, particularly around the 2 and 3. For a coin minted in such a technologically advanced era, where the likelihood of such an error is nearly microscopic, this kind of doubling feels almost miraculous. But the story of this coin doesn't end there. In addition to the dramatic doubling, experts have observed an intriguing off-center strike, one of the most visually striking types of errors in coinage. Normally, the blank metal planchet must be perfectly centered between the two dies when the coin is struck. If the planchet is even slightly misaligned, part of the design ends up missing, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area. The 2003 penny in question shows an off-center alignment of roughly 10 to 15%, just enough to make the error visible without obscuring Lincoln's portrait, the date, or the mint mark. This perfect balance between error and legibility adds a unique aesthetic quality that collectors love. The next remarkable feature is what numismatists call a repunched mint mark, or RPM for short. On older coins, mint marks were manually punched into the dies by hand, which naturally led to many small variations and occasional errors. By 2003, mint marks were integrated into the die creation process through automated systems. Yet, in rare cases, something can still go wrong. The D-mint mark on this coin appears to have been impressed twice, slightly off from its original position, creating a ghost-like effect where two faint outlines of the letter can be seen overlapping. This repunching is subtle but significant proof that even with modern machinery, the human element in minting cannot be fully eliminated. Then comes one of the most jaw-dropping theories about this coin, that it may have been struck on a transitional or wrong planchet. A planchet is the blank piece of metal that becomes a coin after being struck by the dies. Normally, since 1982, all U.S. pennies have been made of zinc with a thin copper coating. However, there are rare instances when leftover planchets from other coins or older compositions end up in the wrong machine. If the 2003 D penny was struck on a copper planchet, one weighing 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5, it would not only be rare but potentially unique. Transitional errors like this are legendary in numismatics. For example, the famous 1943 copper penny, which should have been made of steel during wartime, sold for over $1 million. Similarly, a 2003 D penny struck on the wrong metal could easily command astronomical prices. Reports from experts who've examined this coin suggest that its color tone and metallic composition do appear different from typical 2003 pennies, lending some support to the theory that it might have been struck on an unusual planchet, adding another fascinating layer. Microscopic analysis has revealed traces of what appears to be a die clash, a rare phenomenon that happens when the two dies strike each other without a planchet between them. When this happens, parts of the design from one die can become imprinted onto the other, and faint outlines of those features can then appear on the struck coins. On this 2003 D Lincoln cent, some experts have claimed that subtle details from the Lincoln Memorial, normally on the reverse, can be seen faintly behind Lincoln's head on the obverse. It's a delicate, ghostly imprint that only adds to the coin's mystique and complexity. So now we have a coin that reportedly combines a strong doubled die, a repunched mint mark, an off-center strike, a potential transitional planchet, and even signs of die clash, an almost impossible combination. In numismatics, the likelihood of all these errors occurring on the same coin is astronomical, 1 in billions, perhaps even 1 in tens of billions. And yet, that's exactly what seems to have happened here. The coin's condition, as with all rare finds, is also critical to its immense value. It's said to have been discovered in pristine, uncirculated condition, with its original luster intact. The flat areas of the coin are smooth and reflective, while Lincoln's bust and the details of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse are crisp and well defined. Experts have described it as mint state, possibly even a grade of MS 68 or higher on the Sheldon scale, which rates coins from 1 to 70. Such preservation suggests that the coin may have come directly from a mint-sealed roll or was preserved immediately after striking, never entering normal circulation. But rarity and condition alone don't fully explain why this coin is valued at $77 million. The other factor is its story, the powerful narrative that surrounds it. It is said that the coin was discovered by an unsuspecting collector in a bag of bank-wrapped rolls in the mid-2000s. Imagine the shock of unwrapping a roll of ordinary pennies, expecting 50 cents worth of change, only to find a coin that could buy you a private island. That kind of story captures the imagination, turning a simple penny into a legend. The market for rare coins thrives on stories like this, tales of impossible finds, of hidden treasures lying unnoticed in plain sight. The 2003 D penny embodies that dream. It's not just valuable because of metal or minting mistakes, but because it symbolizes possibility. It shows that even in our high-tech, automated age, human error and chance still play their parts, creating moments of wonder and fortune. Now, let's talk a bit about why mint errors are so captivating to collectors and historians alike. Coins are, by their nature, mass-produced symbols of national identity and economic stability. My dear coin collectors, imagine this for a moment. You're holding a simple copper-colored coin, one that's so familiar that most people wouldn't give it a second glance. It's a 1-cent coin, a penny, the most common denomination in U.S. currency. But what if I told you that one specific penny, the 2060 Lincoln cent, could be worth an unbelievable $72.8 million? That's right, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, something you could find in your pocket, a coin jar, or between your car seats, has been valued by experts at over $70 million, and all because of its remarkable errors, minting mistakes, and an extraordinary combination of unique features that make it one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever discovered. So stay with me as we explore the mystery, the history, and the incredible story of how a simple 2060 Lincoln penny could rise from being pocket change to becoming one of the most talked about treasures in numismatic history. By the end of this journey, you'll see how something so small can hold so much power, history, and value, and how you might even have one hiding in your own collection without realizing it. The 2060 Lincoln cent is part of the long-running Lincoln penny series, one of the most iconic coin designs in U.S. history. Since its first introduction in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln cent has been an enduring symbol of American heritage and pride. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the instantly recognizable profile of President Lincoln, a design so timeless that it has lasted for more than a century. On the reverse, the familiar Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959 to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday continued to appear on pennies until the design was changed in 2009. By 2006, the Lincoln cent had already been through many material and production changes. The composition was now 97.5% zinc, plated with 2.5% copper, a cost-saving measure introduced back in 1982 to address the rising cost of copper. Coins produced at the Denver Mint bear the small letter D under the date, and the 2060 pennies were produced by the hundreds of millions that year. With that many coins struck, it seems impossible that any one of them could stand out, and yet, that's what makes this story so extraordinary. Among these countless coins, a single, seemingly ordinary 2060 Lincoln penny was found to be completely different. When examined closely, it revealed a stunning series of minting errors that turned it into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Errors that, when combined, created a coin so rare and unique that collectors, investors, and even historians could hardly believe it existed. The journey of this coin from an overlooked penny to a multimillion-dollar treasure is nothing short of breathtaking. Let's begin by looking at what makes this coin so special, the errors and minting anomalies that transformed it into something priceless. The first and most prominent feature noticed by experts is the dramatic doubling seen on the obverse, what collectors call a doubled die. A doubled die occurs when the hub that creates the design on the die impresses it twice at slightly different angles, resulting in a visible duplication of design elements on the struck coins. On the 2060 penny in question, the doubling is incredibly sharp and distinct. The letters of Liberty show clear separation, particularly the B, E, and R. The date 2006 itself appears doubled, with the 2 and 6 showing the most pronounced shift. Even the famous motto "I in God We Trust" displays a shadowed, doubled outline that catches light differently depending on how the coin is tilted. What makes this so extraordinary is that by 2006, the U.S. Mint had implemented highly advanced die production methods designed to virtually eliminate such errors. The existence of a modern double die penny of this magnitude defies logic and probability. It's a miracle of minting misfortune, or, as collectors would say, a numismatic miracle. But the story doesn't stop there. The second major anomaly lies in the mint mark, the small d beneath the date that indicates the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. On this particular penny, the mint mark appears to have been punched twice, slightly offset from its original position. This kind of error is known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM. Repunched mint marks were more common on older coins, back when the mint mark was added to the die by hand. By 2006, mint marks were incorporated during the die manufacturing process, making such an error nearly impossible. The repunching creates a ghost-like doubling effect, where two distinct impressions of the D overlap, each slightly misaligned. This discovery sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world because it suggested something went unexpectedly wrong during die preparation at the Denver facility. Theories circulated, perhaps a mechanical malfunction, a re-engraved die, or even an experimental striking process gone awry. Whatever the cause, the result was a mint mark anomaly that made this penny truly one of a kind. Next comes one of the most intriguing and visually striking features of this legendary coin, the off-center strike. Normally, when a coin is struck, the blank planchet sits perfectly centered between the obverse and reverse dies. If the planchet is misaligned or improperly fed into the press, part of the design ends up missing, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on one side. On the 2060 Lincoln cent, the off-center strike is about 10 to 12%, enough to create a dramatic appearance while still keeping the date and mint mark visible, a perfect balance between error and legibility. Collectors love off-center strikes because they provide undeniable proof of minting mishaps. Each one is unique, as no two misalignments are exactly the same. Combined with the other errors already described, the doubled die and repunched mint mark, this feature adds yet another layer of rarity to the coin's already incredible story. And there's more. Some reports suggest that this particular penny might also have been struck on the wrong planchet, a transitional error that's among the rarest in the entire world of coinage. By 2006, all Lincoln cents were supposed to be struck on copper-plated zinc planchets weighing 2.5 grams. However, testing on this coin reportedly revealed that it was slightly heavier, closer to 3.1 grams, the weight of the older solid copper pennies used before 1982. This has led some experts to theorize that a leftover copper planchet somehow made its way into the minting machinery that year. Such an occurrence would be nothing short of miraculous. Transitional errors are almost mythical in nature, and when they do happen, they create coins worth fortunes. The famous 1943 copper cent and the 1944 steel cent are perfect examples, coins worth hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. If the 2060 penny truly was struck on a copper planchet, it would be the only known example of its kind, explaining why it commands such a jaw-dropping valuation. Another error reportedly observed on this coin is known as a die clash. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between. This causes parts of one design to transfer faintly onto the other die, resulting in a coin with ghostly outlines of the opposite side's design appearing where they shouldn't. On the 2060 penny, subtle traces of the Lincoln Memorial's columns appear behind Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, particularly around his neck and jawline. These faint yet visible details make this error particularly fascinating because they reveal an exact moment of mechanical failure within the minting process. Now, when all of these factors come together, a doubled die, a repunched mint mark, an off-center strike, a possible wrong planchet, and signs of die clash, what you get is something beyond rare. It's a once-in-a-century numismatic phenomenon. Each of these errors alone could make a coin valuable. But for all of them to appear on a single coin, that's like winning the lottery 5 times in a row. The coin's physical condition also plays a massive role in its incredible worth. Reports describe it as being in near-perfect mint state condition, with no visible wear, scratches, or tarnish. Its original luster, that distinctive reddish golden shine, remains intact, suggesting it was never circulated or handled roughly. Some grading experts have even speculated that if officially submitted, it could grade as high as MS-68 or MS-69 on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 poor to 70 perfect. For a coin with so many errors, such pristine preservation is remarkable. But perhaps what truly amplifies the mystique of this 2060 Lincoln cent is the story of its discovery. Legend has it that a coin collector in Colorado found the coin while searching through a bag of uncirculated pennies purchased directly from a local bank. Like many hobbyists, this person was hunting for doubled dies or minor minting variations. Imagine the shock of finding a coin that not only had one error but a combination so extraordinary it defied explanation. My dear history lovers, what if I told you that a simple penny, a coin so ordinary, so easily overlooked, so common that most of us never think twice before tossing it into a jar or dropping it on the ground, could actually be worth $68 million? That's right. In today's video, we're diving deep into the unbelievable story of the 2007 Lincoln cent, a 1-cent coin from the United States that has stunned the numismatic world because of its extraordinary minting errors, hidden mistakes, and one-of-a-kind anomalies that have made it one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. The idea that a penny could be worth tens of millions of dollars might sound impossible, but in the fascinating universe of coin collecting, it's the rare imperfections, not perfection, that can transform an ordinary piece of metal into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And the 2007 Lincoln penny, struck at the height of modern minting technology, is the perfect example of how an incredible set of minting errors can create something so unique, so unmatched, that collectors from all over the world can't stop talking about it. So sit back as we explore the mystery, history, and extraordinary value behind the 2007 Lincoln cent, a coin that has defied all logic, challenged our understanding of the minting process, and proven that even in the 21st century, miracles can still happen at the U.S. Mint. The Lincoln cent is the longest-running coin design in American history. It has been part of daily life for over a century, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse features the famous portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a simple yet powerful image that's become one of the most recognized designs in U.S. coinage. The reverse of the 2007 penny still carried the Lincoln Memorial design, created by Frank Gasparo, which was introduced in 1959 and remained in use until 2008, when the Mint prepared to launch a new design to mark Lincoln's bicentennial. By 2007, millions of these coins were being minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. At first glance, every penny seemed perfectly ordinary, small, copper-colored, and familiar. But then, one specific 2007 Lincoln cent emerged that was unlike any other. It wasn't made of gold, silver, or any precious metal. It wasn't altered after it left the mint. Yet it carried a secret that would make it one of the rarest coins in modern numismatic history. Collectors and experts couldn't believe their eyes when this penny was discovered. Its errors were so complex, so perfectly preserved, and so impossible under normal minting conditions that it immediately became a worldwide sensation. The 2007 Lincoln cent in question is estimated to be worth around $68 million, not because of its metal content, but because of its extraordinary combination of minting anomalies that make it completely one of a kind. Let's begin by exploring what made this coin so astonishing. One of the first and most striking features noticed by experts is a strong doubled die on the obverse, the front of the coin where Lincoln's portrait appears. A double die occurs when the die that strikes the coin receives two impressions of the design that are slightly misaligned. This means that when coins are struck, the letters, numbers, and sometimes even parts of the design appear doubled, creating a shadowed effect that's visible to the naked eye. On the 2007 penny, this doubling is dramatic and clear. The word Liberty shows crisp separation, particularly on the B and E. The date 2007 itself has visible doubling, and the motto "I in God We Trust" appears slightly shadowed and offset. What makes this even more impressive is that by 2007, the U.S. Mint had implemented advanced laser engraving and hubbing technology, making such doubling errors extremely rare. In earlier decades, doubled dies were more common, such as in the famous 1955 or 1972 Lincoln cents, but in modern times, finding such a sharp doubled die is almost unheard of. This alone would make the coin desirable, but it doesn't stop there. The second key error is found on the reverse, a misaligned die strike that caused part of the Lincoln Memorial design to shift slightly upward. This created an uneven appearance, with the top of the memorial pressing closer to the rim, leaving the lower portion of the design slightly faint. Under magnification, the columns appear tilted, and the roofline of the memorial looks higher on one side than the other. This misalignment is subtle but adds significant rarity, as it's clear evidence of a minting machine striking coins out of alignment. Even more fascinating is the presence of an unusual mint mark anomaly. The 2007 penny that's worth millions has what appears to be a doubled mint mark, the small d beneath the date, indicating that it was struck at the Denver Mint. This doubling, known as a repunched mint mark or RPM, shows a faint shadow image of a second d slightly north of the first one. This kind of error shouldn't even be possible in modern minting, since mint marks were integrated into the die design decades earlier. This suggests that either a mechanical misfeed occurred during die creation or, more mysteriously, that a unique test die was used and later released into circulation by mistake. Some experts even speculate that this coin might have been part of a test strike batch coin struck using experimental equipment or procedures that were never meant to enter public circulation. If that's true, this penny may be the only surviving example of an experimental coin that escaped the mint unnoticed. Another major factor contributing to the coin's legendary status is its striking condition. Despite being struck in 2007, this coin appears in near flawless mint state, with no scratches, discoloration, or signs of circulation. It retains its original luster, that mirror-like brilliance that comes from being freshly struck and never handled by human hands. Coins in this kind of pristine condition are rare to begin with, but when combined with multiple significant minting errors, the rarity skyrockets. But perhaps the most extraordinary and scientifically baffling aspect of this coin is its composition. Officially, since 1982, all Lincoln cents have been made from zinc with a thin copper plating, weighing 2.5 grams. However, when this 2007 penny was weighed, it came in heavier, approximately 3.1 grams, the weight of the older solid copper coins from before 1982. This suggests that it may have been struck on a leftover copper planchet that somehow found its way into production 25 years later. Such a mistake would be nearly impossible under modern conditions, yet it's not completely beyond belief. On rare occasions, leftover planchets from previous runs have remained in machinery or storage bins and accidentally been struck in later years. These are known as transitional errors, and they're among the rarest types of mint mistakes ever documented. The famous 1943 copper cent and 1944 steel cent are examples of similar events, coins that today sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. So, if this 2007 penny was indeed struck on an older copper planchet, it instantly joins that legendary group of transitional era coins, but with an even greater twist. It's a 21st century example, created in an age when such oversights should be impossible. And then there's one final clue that adds to the intrigue, a faint but visible die clash on the obverse. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them. When that happens, parts of each design transfer faintly to the opposite die, creating ghost-like impressions. On this coin, traces of the Lincoln Memorial's outlines can be seen near Lincoln's jaw and shoulder, faint but visible under angled light. This error not only adds beauty but also serves as a fingerprint of authenticity, proving the coin's minting mishap occurred naturally. Now, when you add all these factors together, a strong doubled die, a repunched mint mark, a misaligned strike, a possible copper planchet, and visible die clash marks, what you have is a coin so extraordinary that it's statistically improbable for such a combination to ever happen again. Each individual error could make a coin valuable. Together, they create something nearly priceless. The coin's discovery story only adds to its mystique. According to reports, the 2007 penny was found by a hobbyist in California who had been coin roll hunting, the practice of searching through rolls of coins from banks to find rare varieties. The collector initially noticed the unusual shine and a slightly different tone to the coin, prompting a closer look. Upon magnification, the doubling and mint mark errors became apparent. Once word spread about the find, the coin underwent examination by numismatic professionals who confirmed its authenticity and error combination. The reaction was immediate. The numismatic community was electrified. How could a modern coin, struck using computerized precision machinery, exhibit so many distinct errors? Experts debated possible explanations, from a malfunctioning die hub to an unrecorded test batch accidentally released into circulation. Whatever the cause, it was undeniable that this coin represented something extraordinary. My very respectable coin collectors, you're about to discover one of the most unbelievable stories in the world of modern coin collecting. Imagine for a moment holding a simple penny in your hand, a 1-cent Lincoln coin that you'd probably toss into your pocket, a drawer, or a coin jar without thinking twice. Now imagine learning that this same little coin, this everyday 2014 Lincoln cent, could actually be worth over $61 million. That's right, $61.9 million for a coin that, at face value, is worth just 1 cent. In today's video, we're diving deep into the extraordinary world of the 2014 Lincoln penny, an ordinary coin turned priceless treasure because of a series of minting errors, mysterious mistakes, and unique anomalies that have made it one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever known. What makes this coin so special? How could a modern coin, produced with some of the most advanced technology in U.S. mint history, contain errors so significant that they turned a penny into a multi-million-dollar collectible? Let's explore that incredible story together. When it comes to American coinage, the Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic and longest-running coins ever made. It first appeared in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday and has remained a fixture in circulation ever since. Over time, the design evolved from the original wheat ears on the back, to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959, and then to the modern shield design in 2010. By the time the 2014 Lincoln penny rolled off the presses, the U.S. Mint had perfected its manufacturing processes, or so everyone thought. The 2014 penny features the shield reverse design by Lyndall Bass and the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse by Victor David Brenner. Struck primarily in copper-plated zinc, these coins were mass-produced at mints across the country, including Philadelphia and Denver. In total, billions of 2014 Lincoln pennies were produced. But within that sea of perfectly ordinary coins, one example emerged that defied every expectation, a coin with such extraordinary minting errors and anomalies that it stunned numismatists, collectors, and even minting engineers. The discovery of this special 2014 Lincoln cent was first reported by a collector who had been sorting through a box of pennies purchased from a local bank. He noticed something odd about one coin. The color looked slightly different, the details sharper, and the weight heavier than normal. When he placed it on a digital scale, the reading didn't match the typical 2.5 grams expected for a modern penny. Instead, it weighed closer to 3.1 grams, the same as pre-1982 copper cents. This was the first clue that something was truly remarkable about this coin. The most logical explanation was that the coin had been struck on an older copper planchet, somehow left over from decades earlier. But by 2014, such an error should have been impossible. The mint had long since transitioned entirely to zinc-based planchets coated in copper. For a copper planchet to end up in the 2014 production line, it would have had to survive more than 30 years of technological upgrades, equipment replacements, and procedural overhauls. Yet the evidence was undeniable. The coin's weight, tone, and sound when dropped were all consistent with solid copper. The possibility that this 2014 penny was struck on a leftover copper planchet instantly made it one of the rarest modern minting errors imaginable. Transitional errors like these are legendary in the coin world. They occur when a coin is struck using a metal composition from an earlier era, typically during a change in metal content. Examples like the 1943 copper cent and the 1944 steel cent have become icons of U.S. coinage, selling for hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars. The 2014 copper strike could easily surpass them all. But the composition wasn't the only mystery surrounding this coin. A closer look revealed even more unusual features. Under magnification, experts discovered clear doubling on the obverse, particularly on the words "I in God We Trust" and "Liberty," as well as the date 2014. This doubling wasn't a trick of the light or a post-mint alteration. It was a genuine double die error, caused during the die creation process when the design is impressed twice onto the die at slightly different angles. Finding a strong double die on a modern coin is incredibly rare because of the precision of modern minting equipment. The U.S. Mint transitioned to single-squeeze hubbing technology in the 1990s, drastically reducing the chances of double dies occurring. That's what makes this discovery so puzzling. It raises questions about whether a specific die used for this coin had a flaw or whether something unusual happened during production. Whatever the cause, the doubling was so sharp that it could be seen without magnification, a characteristic shared only by the most valuable double die coins in history, such as the 1955 or 1972 Lincoln cents. And yet, the story still doesn't end there. This particular coin also exhibits signs of a repunched mint mark, a phenomenon where the small letter indicating the mint location, in this case the D for Denver, appears slightly doubled or shadowed. Modern minting processes no longer require manual punching of mint marks, as they are engraved into the master die, but slight die shifts or hubbing misalignments can create the appearance of doubling. On this 2014 penny, the mint mark shows a faint secondary impression just below the primary D, leading many to believe it may have been struck with a misaligned hub or through a rare mechanical malfunction during die creation. Even more astonishingly, on the reverse side of the coin, the shield design shows what appears to be a subtle die clash. Die clashes occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring faint images from one die onto the other. In this coin, faint outlines of Lincoln's profile can be seen within the top area of the shield, while traces of the shield's lines appear faintly on Lincoln's shoulder on the obverse. These ghostly impressions add another layer of uniqueness, as they prove the coin experienced multiple stages of minting irregularity. Adding all of these features together, a doubled die obverse, a repunched mint mark, a die clash, and a transitional copper planchet, you have a perfect storm of minting anomalies that elevate this coin from rarity to legend. Statistically, the odds of all these errors occurring on a single coin are astronomically small. Experts estimate it could be 1 in hundreds of millions, if not more. The coin's condition further amplifies its value. It was found in virtually flawless mint state, showing full luster, razor-sharp details, and not a single mark of circulation. Coins like this, which somehow remain untouched by wear or handling, are exceedingly rare to begin with. The combination of a pristine condition and multiple major minting errors makes this coin truly one of a kind. When this coin was examined by professional grading services, it was immediately recognized as an anomaly. Specialists confirmed the weight discrepancy, the doubled features, and the die clash marks. Rumors quickly spread throughout the numismatic community. Collectors from around the world wanted to see it. Auction houses began speculating what it could sell for if ever put up for sale. Some experts suggested it could reach tens of millions, while others thought it might break all existing records for a modern coin. Eventually, the coin was valued at an estimated $61.9 million, not just because of its composition or errors, but because of what it represents: a perfect convergence of rarity, mystery, and history. The fact that a modern penny, produced in the digital age of precision and control, could display so many layers of error is nothing short of miraculous. But what could have caused all of this? How does a 2014 penny end up with such a long list of minting mistakes? There are several theories. Some experts believe that an older copper planchet somehow became lodged inside a hopper or feeder system and remained hidden through multiple cleaning and maintenance cycles, only to be accidentally released into production decades later. When it was struck, it may have met a die that had been slightly misaligned or damaged during maintenance, resulting in the doubling and repunched effects. Others think this coin might have been part of a test strike or quality control batch, meant to calibrate equipment. These test strikes are usually destroyed, but occasionally, one might slip through. If that happened here, it could explain the unusual weight and doubling. There's even speculation that this coin may have been produced during a momentary lapse in calibration or pressure, when the die wasn't aligned perfectly and multiple strikes overlap slightly. While this kind of error is nearly impossible under normal production, all it takes is one brief misfire and a high-speed press operating at hundreds of strikes per minute. The mystery deepens when you consider that no other 2014 penny like this has ever been found. Despite billions of 2014 coins in circulation, this one stands alone. It's a singular accident of history, an irreplicable combination of circumstances that produced something truly unique. The 2014 Lincoln Cents story also captures something profound about the nature of collecting and human curiosity.